Afternoon, folks. It's Jeff and Maree again. As you might have guessed, I'm Jeff and this is Maree. This is normally how it works for us.
Really?
Really? Yeah, normally. Yeah, never mind. Anyway, this is video number 3. 1, 2.
That all depends. We've done an intro.
So if you include the introduction, video number 3 in our little mini series, we're talking about the 5 elements. So if you've looked onto this particular video thinking, what are these two people thinking and talking about?
They're lovely people.
I was going to, I thought, no, let's not fuck around, let's not joke. Anyway, the point is, sorry, Maree, is to go back and find the introduction first and work through them, because we're talking about 5 elements and how they can become very impactful inside your life and all things you do in life. And we've been through, obviously, introducing the whole concept. We've talked already about the wood element. We've talked about fire element. Today is the earth element. So let me just share the screen so we can all be on the same page, so to speak. Okay, and as you can see there, the earth element, which is represented by a mountain in this case, and also connection to late summer, which is not an official season in the West, but it's still a season nonetheless in terms of the stuff we talk about. So basically, like before, I just flick through here. We know that the element of wood, I've gone back the other way already. I'm supposed to have a nice day today, don't I? The element of earth.
You need a bit of wood in you at the moment.
I need something, maybe alcohol. Never mind, I didn't say that, did I? The element of earth.
So if anyone's looking at what we do, we actually have what we call 3 treasures. And we actually talk about these in all the work that we do, but we're mainly working on the earth element today. So a person, we actually name a person who is a high earth person, is a philanthropist. And it's also, the earth element is related to the spleen and the stomach in our body.
Yeah.
And it's if the house is an earth house, we actually call it a yellow serpent. But we go into a lot of detail when we actually do either the feng shui or mental and emotional health or physical health as well.
So the 3 treasures, and I suppose you'd say that the philanthropist represents our unique personality, who we are, our behaviours, our mindset, and how we approach life. Yeah. The spleen, as Maree mentioned, is to do with the other treasure, next treasure, which is about your bodily health, physical health. So your mental health could be seen as part of your unique personality, but certainly your physical health, all that goes with that, is in the health and well-being. And the 3rd treasure is your living environment, like Maree said, where you live.
Where you work.
And we work, or play, which includes play.
Actually, at the environment itself.
Yeah, and all the things that go with that. So, as we mentioned in the last few videos, and if you haven't seen them, don't forget, go back and have a check of them first. We mention every time it's important, and we'll do it again now, is that to consider these elements as not the real elements. We're not talking about real earth, we're not talking about real wood, real fire. We're talking about, from the Chinese perspective, the metaphors. They're like stories they tell. And it's about states of change. And we've got, again, this little passage, wood fuels fire, settles to earth, etc. Important for this one, though, is that we're going to focus on earth this time. Earth is mined from metal. So earth comes from fire, which comes from wood. So we're getting a progress. Now we've got earth, and that obviously different parts of earth compress different ways, and we get metals of different types. Okay, which then can release water, it grows wood, and it goes on and on. The important thing is, and here's the important thing about earth, and if you've watched the last 2 videos up to now, we talk very much about the different patterns, and for earth, slow is a really important pattern, because that's what earth is all about, isn't it? Particularly in a person. Not rushing, slowing down, thinking about things, taking time out, and becoming more aware of what's going on, both in time and in place.
And as we talk about a few things in here, I have my earth element is my dominating element. So I am really into the earth element. But just when you look at the fire, the wood, the fire and the earth, and the water and the metal, it's also related to the seasons of that as well. So we've got the spring as wood, fire as summer, earth, as we mentioned before, it's the late summer, metal is the autumn, water is your winter. It's also related to each one of those actually has the organs as well. So we look at the seasons, we look all about time, you know, how strong is the earth element in an earth month? How strong is the fire element in a winter month? So it's all looking about balancing each of these elements through all the seasons, through each year and through your lifetime. And knowing what you were born with is very important, you know, to you know, have a healthy longevity.
She's so serious today.
Don't forget, I'm an earth person.
She got
So
very serious there.
you'll see me thinking, you'll see me that I'm very slow at doing things. As Jeff said, you know, we are slow. We actually think about things before we actually speak, but sometimes we want to get something out. So
and that's where you just go for it.
And that's where I go for it.
So let's just spend quickly now a short moment on each of those three treasures in more detail. But again, very little detail really, but enough to get you started in thinking. So, as an element, Earth genius, and don't forget, now it's about elements, we're also talking about people, because you can't separate one from the other. Very important to understand that. We're not talking about just nature, we're talking about the nature in human. You know, not the human nature concept, but nature in human. So, here's Maree. She's an Earth person. We're going to put this along today, an example of Earth for you to look at. And she seeks harmony and she accepts external trust and love and support. You know what? Knowing her personally, she has too much trust sometimes, but that's one of the failings, yet one of their strengths, don't you think?
Mm.
And she likes to be engaged, you know, happiness, etc., and keeping things on track. And she's, you know, one of not just her, but all Earth people, if you wish, are all keen to, you know, make sure things are moving at the right pace, not too fast.
It's also knowing as Mother Earth. We also it's all about timing. It's all about timing. Is it the right time to do this? And the Earth people are very, very strong in this. It all depends how much Earth you've got.
Correct.
But, you know, is this the right time? So Jeff would come up with all these ideas and all that sort of thing. I say, and I've got to think about it really slowly. I've got to think about it. And then what I say, no, we won't do this now. We can do it later on. But if it is the right time, I say, yeah, let's go and do it. So it is very important. Those people are very sought after.
Wow.
They are.
Well, I've been told. Okay, so there's like summer genius again, because some get Earth, some you can't escape the connection between them. Not apparently overly emotional. I don't know if that's Maree sometimes. I think she can become emotional, but you know, that is something they can hide well. But they feel sensitive and they react to what they're experiencing. That's for sure. That's for sure. You can't hide that one. They're a worrier. They don't like change, particularly when it's too confronting. Oh, I think I ripped that one with her too. This is you today, isn't it?
It is.
Not accepting any change, which is not well thought out. Seeking to do everything at a steady pace. Yeah, sometimes I wonder what's ever going to happen. And then focusing on practicality and perseverance over grand ideas and schemes. That's what she's saying when she says she puts me back in my place, because I like the grand ideas and schemes, and she's very quick to say, yeah, don't do that.
When you look at seeking to do everything, I was told in one of my jobs many years ago that I was too eager to please, and I was actually disappointed. I got 98 out of 100% for the people performance, and I was really upset about it because you know, I had to have 100%. So I asked the manager. I said, "Oh, how come I only got 98%?" He said, "Maree, you're too eager to please." And I took this as an insult. I took as a negative. But when I actually look back at the years and I'm thinking, that's me, that's who I am. It's all about nurturing others and pleasing others. And we look after others before we look after ourselves.
So with that in mind, to take it very much into the role or the world of the philanthropist, and there's a few bunch of things here. I should mention, as I have in previous videos, feel free to watch this again as many times as you like. Stop it, take notes from it. It's all there for you to look at. We're keen to share. And the more you can take from this, the better we'll feel about it. Is that not right? So philanthropists, I'll give you one right here. Like spending time at home, that's for sure. Nurturing, negotiates a great outcome for all. Yeah, that's true. But in terms of in the normal world, not business world, in general terms, that's to make sure everyone's happy with what's going on around them, that no one's feeling that they're left out, made use of. It says here that she's diplomatic. I don't know why I wrote that guy. No, Maree. Yeah, she's diplomatic. It's all right. Definitely maternal. Definitely a warrior. Prefers comfortable and timeless outfits. Ta-da! Likes stability in work and personal life. And her biggest fear, this is something that applies to every philanthropist we've ever met, the fear of not being needed. Now, there's a bunch of other ones there you can read, but that one there, to me, always stands out. Earth people, philanthropists, really need to be needed. Take that away from them, and they're lost.
Now, if you don't have a lot of earth, if your percentage of earth element is not high, you would probably have a few of these. My son is over the top. I've never seen anyone so high in earth, and he would be every single one of these, plus more, because we all carry a little bit of all the other elements as well. But as a philanthropist, as an earth person, you know, people are born naturally like this, but also we can actually, you know, learn a lot of things over the years. So
you're saying there's a natal genius versus something else, yeah.
Yes.
So when Maree mentions about, you know, knowing what your element mix is, we talk about an assessment that we've created, which we're going to now, but it works out your natal genius, the things that you were born with versus what life made you do to succeed, or didn't make you do, but certainly became important for you to succeed. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go now to the home. Maree's little bag, because she loves the home environment. She's a very well-respected, internationally wise feng shui expert. There you are. There's a
both northern and southern hemisphere. So when I talk about different things, I always give the difference between the northern and southern hemisphere, because as you know, our seasons are different, but also our year cycles are totally 5 years apart. So we will be doing a channel on that as well, because I think it's important that people hear about the northern hemisphere. Or this year it's the wood dragon in the northern hemisphere, and people say, oh yes, they get excited, it's a wood dragon, yes, this is what I should be feeling, this is what I should be doing. In actual fact, if you feel, especially an earth person, if you feel that it's not you, then it's not you. You weren't born in the northern hemisphere, you may be born in the southern hemisphere. So you know, we have different cycles down here as well.
That's for another day, because this is the next treasure, isn't it? The environment.
But when we are actually in our environment, like our home here is a very earth home, and you can see the colour of the walls. They're actually a what colour? That's very like terracotta. We've got terracotta floors. We've got cream. Everything. This is an earth home. So sometimes, if it's an earth month, if it's an earth year, if we're heavy earth people, we can be so drained being in an earth environment that is heavily earth. So when it's different times of the seasons, we change our room environment, we change the colours, we change our computer desktop screens, so that whatever environment, whatever we want to do differently, say if we want to do social media and I need to create more of a fire environment because I need to talk, I need to do all this, we need to put a lot of fire elements in. A metal person would need to put more earth elements in if they're in that sort of environment. So the environment will change per season, and it needs to be a seasonal change. But
I think it's important to point out too that because there are a lot of people that have a sort of a small understanding of feng shui, and I think most of those people would say, well, it's all about colours, like you just mentioned. It's talking about furnishings, yes, but it's really also about, and Maree keeps going on about the earth person, because it's actually about how to make the home a place where an earth person, in this case, would feel very comfortable, if it wasn't too much earth, that is, yeah. So it's a home which it shows that it gives a sense of caring and patience and practicality. It makes you feel like you're an earth person or someone needing earth. It'll make you feel like you want to be in that home.
And a lot of the times when people have come to our home here, they say, oh, gee, they feel really comfortable, you know, because sometimes they are seeking that earth
And they wouldn't even know that worked.
environment, and they don't know what it is, but they just feel comfortable.
In that box below, you can read that yourself if you really want to know more, but that's just a couple of very brief descriptors of Earth in an Earth home. Like earth-made man-made materials, clay bricks, terracotta, cement, stone, colours are yellow, brown, orange, gold. That's no surprise for Earth.
Animal signs, I think, are very important. I think when we get more into the Chinese astrology, we actually, where the fire, wood, metal and water, there are only two yin and yang elements of each, and so they only have two animal signs. But the earth actually has four: the earth sheep, the dog, the ox and the dragon. And January is actually, I won't say what it is, because down in the southern hemisphere, January is the ox. In the northern hemisphere, where are we? Anyway, the earth elements are always January, April, July, and October, and they each one of those, there's two yin and two yang. So when we go into, I'm actually the earth dragon, three out of the four. So, and then I'm an earth sheep. So you can see I've got earth everywhere. So
if we're coming to our home, it's like coming to a farm. We've got sheep and we've got ox and we've even got dragons here.
No.
I think sometimes animal science confuse people too. It's something that you need to really take care of when you go into it.
There's a lot into the animal science.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just moving on there, because remember we did say only a brief touch on each of these treasures inside this element. So to move on now to the other treasure, the third treasure, something I get a lot of enjoyment out of thinking about is the health and well-being. And we look there for, in this case, what are the organs? That means a lot to be said about the health of a person, but we're talking about the organs in the body that relate to the earth element. And in the case of the earth element, it's the spleen and the stomach. The spleen is what we call a yin organ. And it's one of the five main organs. We were talking about wood, which is liver. We talked about fire, which is the heart. Now we're talking about earth, which is the spleen. The stomach is the yang organ, because that's where it's a container. It can hold a lot of these things. Now, a lot of people in the Western medical world will say, and it's proven to be true anyway, that you can live without your spleen. You don't need it. But in the Chinese medicine perspective, the spleen is incredibly important because it's seen as the organ that separates the food particles into the various organs that are needing it. For example, it will send certain stuff towards the liver, different to the heart, etc., etc. So it's got a key job. And its idea, therefore, is to sort of look after, store the food while it's, and didn't give it where it needs to get, but also to nourish the flesh and the muscle of the body. So it's just a very important role. So yes, you can live without it, but you live better with it. Now, we just mentioned a couple of things. I mean, it's so important to understand in more in depth, but for the time being, the spleen is said to rule the four livers and govern the blood. So in Chinese medicine, if you've hit yourself with a bruise, that's seen as the blood being released from the vein, which means that the spleen hasn't done its job. Okay, so that has its own repercussions, but that's okay. The more important thing is, in terms of seeing, that the spleen connects to the mouth and the lips of an individual. I mean, I wonder if that's any surprise when you think that the mouth is where you obviously put food through into the stomach in the first place. So these things all connect together. And I guess from a Chinese medicine perspective, if we're looking at the lip, we can, and the top lip particularly, we can make some deductions about the health of those organs in that area, like the spleen and the stomach, etc. Now, really cool for me is the emotions. And this one here lived most of these. Positive type, it would be empathy and caring. Okay, so in other words, a person displays a lot of empathy. It's a fair chance there's quite a degree of element, of wood element, of earth element inside that person. Okay, because that's strong in them, the caring factor, the nurturing factor. And you see, they'll go a long way to do that. But when they get to the stage where they think it's not working, or what about me, then the negative come in, self-pity, the anxiety, the worried, pensive, etc. And I know that Maree is very good at moaning from time to time. And, now that to me is a sign that she's getting overloaded and she wants to settle back and get away from it. So keep an eye out for someone you know, and you might think of all these things we're describing. How much is in you? how much is part of people you've come across in the family, because all this stuff will be there. And when you go back and eventually see all the 5 elements in the separate videos, you'll definitely be able to go to people you know and say, I get that, I can see that. And you start to see people in ways you never did before. And that's really cool. Anyway, in terms of the health again, we look at the body clock. The Chinese medicine has a body clock, and there's every part of the day, there's a certain organ doing certain things. So for the spleen, it's from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning in terms of nourishment and therefore getting breakfast down you. So very important time for those people, and there's a lot of people nowadays that say, oh, breakfast isn't important. I hear it a lot lately. Don't have breakfast, fast until lunchtime. And don't tell that to the spleen and then the stomach, because that's what they rely on. That's their time to get in the nourishment they can then digest and make use of. So, again, keeping in mind that the East here, the Chinese medicine, is all about balance and harmony. It's not about fixing a problem. It's about keeping the body in a nice state of balance. Hence, eating at the right time, the right foods, helps that balance be maintained. Would you agree?
It's also the season, season as well.
So, there are the 3 different treasures, 1, 2, 3, and it's really, I feel that sometimes we try to do these really short little videos here on YouTube just to give people an insight, and sometimes think, wow, that was just like, I just threw stuff at people. I wonder what they got, I wonder what they can get. So, you would do well to obviously go and, if you choose, listen to it again. Pick the points between our ramblings and see what makes sense to you.
Your ramblings.
Well, my ramblings. Because here's the thing, folks. In our Clutter-Free I Ching, which is where all this comes from, if we go to the first introduction video on this series, we talk about the I Ching and a few other things in there, and it says that every one of us has some level of elements within us. It's very rare, and it's possible, but very rare for someone to have no element inside them. That means, therefore, we've got to think about that in terms of who we are as a person. And we have to think about the fact, as mentioned earlier, that we're born with a certain suite of these characteristics that come with the territory. But then from day one, day hour of one, if you like, we're starting to be aware that we're a world and we have to fit in. And so we start to change. We fit in with what we think our parents expect from us, their siblings. We want to be obviously accepted at school. We have to be at work, etc. So what we start out in life as, our mix of energies, not just may well, it will change. It very well will change over time. And so, that becomes a manifested genius. And I think when we talk about things like health in your home, it's so important to become more connected to your natal genius, isn't it? Because that's the part inside you which is unconscious most often and just sits there and drives you and just forgotten for the time being.
I think what we haven't mentioned in any of these videos, it's not just when you were born, it's where you were born and how you were born. We also look at the parents and the health of the parent while she is pregnant with you, but also the health of both the mother and the father before that as well, because that can have a really impact on the actual baby going forward. So they say if a person was even born in a hospital, air conditioning and all that sort of stuff, or somebody was born in the back of a car, in the middle of the outback somewhere, where it's stinking hot,
in the middle of a flood, they couldn't get
or a flood and that. There's stress on the mother, the parents at that time. So that's causing the baby to stress. So that will also affect the organs of the baby. So we look at everything like that. It's not just when you were born, it's how and where you were born as well.
Correct.
That makes a big difference on who you are today.
And also, therefore, on how you learn to relate to people, how you manifest your behaviours and your attitudes, your values, etc. These all come from a whole mix of things happening. So it's such a fascinating topic. But the thing is, as we said here, when you embrace your genius profile, this is what it is, you're a genius. We are all a genius in our own way. We can look at these things, and on our platforms, and what we use to deal with the issues people come to us with, it's lifestyle, it's personal endeavours, it's your health, your home, your relationships, your work. Because it's not possible for you to have success in all of them if one or more are playing up, because they all impact each other. And that's the concept of 3 treasures. They work together. They must work together. And obviously your health, your mind, your body, your home, all must work together if you want to have that success in life that, let's face it, you're entitled to. You're right.
Yes, and I think also, you know, when I talk about an earth person, if somebody is really high in earth or their elementary mix is really dominating earth, and you're in a work environment that is sitting with computers all day, just looking at, you know, computers, you're not talking to anybody, you're not helping anybody that way, that can also cause stress because you're not in a natural environment that's suited to you. So an earth person is more of like somebody that works in a receptionist at the doctors or the dentist or even police officers.
DAs,
Yeah, those sort of jobs that actually
teachers.
are helping others and nurturing others. So the, you know, the workplace is very important to have earth people in that role where they're good customer service people. So it's just something else to think about as well.
It is. So there's a lot we talked about there. Well, at the same time, we didn't say anything really compared to what we would love to share with you, but there's a lot there for you to digest. As always, you know, please feel free to watch all these videos. There's still a few more to come in this particular little series. And to reach out if you want to chat further, you'll find our contact details on our YouTube channel, and we'd love to have a chat. But in the meantime, our next one coming up very shortly, we'll be looking at the next element, which is metal. And that's an interesting element all of its own again, isn't it? That'll be number 4, element number 4. So with that in mind, let me just, I can just, look, I'm learning how to do this. There we go. I've stopped sharing. And for the time being, it's goodbye from Maree.
And it's goodbye from Jeff, and we'll see you in the next video.
It's next coming up very soon at a TV near you.